there was anything you kind of feel you've missed. In terms of questions, there is a Q&A function in Zoom. So rather than posting your questions in the chat, can you please direct them all to the Q&A function? Chloe from the team is manning the Q&A function, and once I'm done presenting, I'll be jumping on there as well. So any questions, put them in there, and we'll either answer them straight away, or if we can't give you an answer straight away, they'll go up in the FAQs afterwards. The main session of today is going to be a series of presentations from different providers, but at the end, there's an opportunity for you to take part in any breakout sessions. You should have been emailed the links to these this morning, but they will also be posted in the chat. So if there's a particular session that you think, well, that was really good, I want to find out more, or you've got a question that you want to kind of have a conversation about, those different breakout sessions are an opportunity for you to go and be in a smaller meeting related directly to that session. There'll be a member of the Make Happen team in there, as well as a provider, and so you can ask questions to them and talk about their presentation. So firstly, I want to give it a quick overview of what is Make Happen. I'm aware a lot of you already work with us, but there are also some schools, colleges on the list of attendees who we don't currently work with. So I'm just going to give a quick overview. So Make Happen serves a dual purpose as part of 2 National Office for Students funded projects. Largest of those is the Uni Connect programme, which I'll talk more about in a second. And the second of those, very closely linked, is the Outreach Hub project. And I think the key thing for me that sums up Make Happen on that slide is impartial. So we're a partnership of local institutions, so that's higher education institutions, further education colleges, the local authorities, and we're a partnership of them, but we're not part of any one of them. So when we talk to students, schools, colleges, parents, we are doing so from a truly impartial point of view. We're not looking to recruit to any particular institution. We are simply there to give impartial, honest information and advice to enable students to make an informed choice about their future. So the Uni Connect programme is a national programme. It launched in January 2017 and is currently funded through to July 2021. And there's a quote there from the Office of Students website on why they do this from their point of view. But the programme has 4 specific objectives. First of these is to reduce the gap between the most and least disadvantaged progressing to HE. So it's a targeted programme aimed at supporting students from the areas of the country with the lowest progression to HE when the attainment of an area is taken into account. And its aim is to increase the proportion of them going to university, and it does that by the second point of helping them to make informed choices. So like I mentioned before, it's all about being impartial and supporting students to make informed choices that are the best for them. And one of the main ways it does this is through collaboration. So not only us working with our local partners, but also providing a platform for our local partners to work together to support students of Essex. And the last objective is evaluation. Evaluation is at the heart of everything we do, not only to help us make an informed case for prolonged funding beyond July 2021, but also to ensure that the activities we're putting in place are having a positive impact on students, and being able to evidence that is a core part of the work we're doing, not only regionally, but nationally. And finally, the project is for Year 9s and up, and that's regardless of whether they choose to go through the sixth form route or into FE. The programme is for students from Year 9 up until the point that they're ready to progress to higher education. The second project is the Outreach Hub. This launched in August last year and is currently funded till July 2025. It's very much intended as a legacy of the Uni Connect project. So it's continuing with the 29 regional partnerships, which you can see on the map there, with Make Happen being the Essex area outreach hub. And its main purpose is to continue what the OFS saw as one of the big benefits of Uni Connect, which was impartial signposting. So the Outreach Hub has a much smaller budget, so will be less about directly delivering activity, but will still be room for that. But it's more about signposting to the best outreach for an individual, a school, college, student, parent, so that they know the best outreach provision that exists within the area for them to help them on their educational and career journey. As part of that project, there has been some slight relaxing on some of the targeting. So we're now able to work with Year 7 students all the way up. And the postcode targeting that I mentioned previously has largely been relaxed. So the project is able to work with any students under the Outreach Hub. But there are also some key underrepresented groups that the OFF identified that they wanted partnerships to support. And I've put up on the slide there the 4 main ones that we've chosen to focus on as a partnership. So that's the 2 national programs. But what is Make Happen more locally? We currently work with 76 schools and 8 colleges as part of the Uni Connect program. We've got a team of 24 staff, and those staff are spread across the county. So we have staff at the University of Essex, both in Colchester and Southend, but we also have staff as far away as the University of East London and a range of institutions in between. And that's to enable us not only to work locally as Essex as a county, but to really support locally within those smaller regional communities. So the main staff you'll see out and about are our collaborative outreach officers and our collaborative outreach assistants. And each of those officers has between 8 and 10 schools and colleges that they are the named contact for. So they'll work closely with that school or that college to identify what activities that would best support the students of those schools and colleges. So it's very much a schools-led approach, but with the aim of supporting the students in those schools and meeting their specific needs. And each of those schools gets their own budget and works for that officer to put in place activity. Since the project started, we've delivered nearly 1,400 activities. And as you can see from the graph there, the activity has been scaling up over time. So there's a big jump between 2017-18 and 2018-19. And 2019-20 takes us up until the beginning of March. And I'm very confident that if things had stayed normal, we'd seen a normal academic year, then that 500 would have been higher than the activity being delivered the year before. And there's a real range of activity we can support with. Our members of our team can come in and deliver activity themselves, but we also use school and college budgets to enable access to our providers, like you're going to hear from later today, or to support trips that are related to our aims and objectives. And in that time, we've worked with over 75,000 unique students. So that's over 75,000 students across Essex who have received some form of support from Make Happen in one way or another. So whistle-stop tour of what Make Happen is. And let's talk briefly about our response to COVID-19, the current situation, but going to talk lightly about it as Luke from the team is one of these sessions later on. He's going to go into more detail about the specific sessions that we can offer. So the Office students are our funding body, and they've confirmed and really reinforced that they see Uni Connect project being increasingly vital in the current climate. Students in Year 13 are going to be in a very competitive recruitment market for universities. Universities are facing severe financial challenges, as is the rest of the country and the world. So they're going to be increasingly competitive to attract students to their institutions. So our role as that impartial voice is heightened in this current situation, and being that trusted source of information that can give students, parents, etc., impartial advice separate from a specific university. As I mentioned earlier, targeting and evaluation are key to what we do as a project. But given the current situation, it felt right to relax those requirements somewhat. So our general provision, we're not going to be targeting in the way we usually do with postcodes and target those Uni Connect areas of low participation. We will for high cost projects, but by and large, we're looking to relax those requirements where we can. And even more so the normal, we are stressing that evaluation is not a barrier to any activity being in place. We're seeking to evaluate as much as possible, but it is very much secondary to supporting students in the current climate. That is our main focus. We've scaled up some elements of the Outreach Hub earlier than we would have done otherwise. We've launched our new website with our new branding, and we're really using that as a place to post news stories, but also helpful guides from various members of the team or other useful information. And we've reinvigorated our social media presence with the intention of signposting across various different channels, not only posting our own content, but also signposting to wherever those trusted sources of information, whether that be UCAS, Department for Education, any trusted impartial source will be re-signposting to them through our social media and our website. And then finally, producing our own content, which Luke will be talking about in more detail, and working with our providers to ensure that there's a strong virtual pool of sessions available to students, and you'll hear from a number of them shortly. And the final thing I wanted to talk about, sorry about that, was planning for the next academic year. So whilst we're focusing in the short term, supporting students in the current situation, we're also starting to think about the next academic year as much as possible as well. So we're looking to put in place some progressive projects for next year. So not only for supporting with one-off activities, but for targeted cohorts of students, putting in place a pool of activities that support those students with their needs across the academic year. Continuing to work with our providers to ensure that we have as big a pool of activities that we can offer as possible, as well as sourcing new providers, and continuing to scale up our Outreach Hub activity. So we started this year, we delivered some Year 7 and 8 activity, as well as some activity to support looked after children. But we've also spent this academic year developing new relationships to enable us to support those other groups that I identified earlier, and to scale up that other activity from the new academic year. And alongside activity, we've also been looking at some program management development. So from next Monday, we'll have our CRM in place, which will enable us to produce some nice, fancy-looking newsletters. The first of these is going to be going out at the beginning of June. And we're looking to do monthly ones for the teachers that we work with. And then from next academic year, we're going to look to introduce a student and parent-facing newsletter as well, to not only highlight the activity that we're offering, but also do that signposting element of the Outreach Hub to highlight good information and advice and other activities across the region. As part of that CRM, you might also notice a slight transition in email addresses amongst the team. So we'll be moving towards having makehappen.org email addresses, moving away from our essex.ac.uk email addresses. And this not only lets us work within the CRM with those new email addresses, but it also really represents our impartial nature. And as I've touched on before, we've launched a new website and we're going to continue to develop that. The product that's up there now is great. I think it's a big improvement on what we had before, but it's not finished, and we're going to continue to develop that. If anyone ever has any feedback, please feel free to get in touch with anyone from the team, and we'll see what we can do. So that is all from me. I'm going to hand over to the first of our providers, which is Talent Ed.
So our first provider is Talent Ed, and that is Adam, but I think he may have actually gone down as an attendee, and he has. Bear with me. Adam, you should be able to unmute yourself now and put your video on. Oh,
Hi, Lisa, can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
There, great.
And let me just give you remote access. There you go.
Brilliant. All right, thanks very much. Morning, everyone. I hope you're all keeping well in these conditions. And thanks also to Elisa and the Make Happen team for putting this on. So I'm just going to spend a very short amount of time going over TownTed and our online offering. Oh, Elisa, my screen seems to have gone. There we go. Sorry about that. So briefly, what do we do at TownTed? So we're a charity, and our mission is to level the playing field in education. So we work exclusively with disadvantaged students with high learning potential. And by that, we mean not necessarily any particular level of attainment, but just students who have the potential to benefit from additional support. So it's relatively broad. We match those students with qualified, experienced teachers, and that's kind of what we pride ourselves on, that we're fairly restrictive in which teachers we bring on board. And we deliver tailored tuition sessions to these students. So that's us in a nutshell. We have typically worked face-to-face, and that's what we've done since 2012. Our online offering uses the same model, the same logic, but of course it's a little bit different. So here's some of the details. We mainly work with Key Stage 3 and 4. We have worked with older and younger students, but that's our bread and butter, I guess you can say. In terms of what we cover, we have over 100 tutors. They cover a broad range of subjects. Of course, we have most in English, maths and science. We have a directory on our website which actually shows which subjects we cover. In addition to subject specific, we also cover what we call core skills. So things like revision techniques, essay writing, for example. And then we also have a confidence and aspirations program. So the content is tailored to what the students themselves need. The setup of the sessions, this is exactly the same as we do face-to-face, and we find this works quite well. 4 students per tutor. Because they're qualified and experienced teachers, they're able to handle a group of 4 students, even if they're perhaps more boisterous. And the sessions last for an hour. We deliver this via Zoom. I'll talk in a moment about the safeguarding around that, but that's the sort of basics of what we do. And for this, we charge £10 per student per session. And we have a minimum of 4 sessions, but happy to kind of take more questions on that later. Practically then, how does it work? We try and keep it as simple as possible for you. So what we need is to select the students that you believe will benefit from the support. And again, happy to go into more on kind of the type of students that we find often benefit most. We also need your input on what's the subject that they need support with. And then we need contact with their parents or guardians so we can get the consent from them. That's sort of the basics of what we need to get things up and running. Of course, the more information you're able to provide about the student's needs, so if it's maths, is it algebra, is it exam prep, that type of thing, just helps us be more effective and helps us choose the right tutor to work with that group of students. So just a quick word then on safeguarding, as I mentioned, because it's obviously a little bit different to when we work face-to-face in schools. All of our sessions are recorded, and these are available for 28 days. They're available to parents or teachers should they request them. And we periodically review these sessions. So that's kind of an important safeguarding control. The tutors themselves, as I said, they're all qualified teachers, but we have quite a rigorous vetting process. So they're of course DBS checked. We check 2 references, and then they're all interviewed, and that's as much as anything else about quality control to make sure that they're engaging, inspiring for the students. And then of course there's no direct communication between the tutors and the students, so anything Any communication goes via TownTed. If there's sharing of documents or homework, that type of thing, we use Google Classrooms to do that. Quick note on our impact. I know Stephen mentioned impact's really important. I should probably say during lockdown, in line actually with Make Happen, we have slightly relaxed our evaluation controls, because we know a lot of schools want to get things up and running quickly, and it might be for a relatively short amount of time. But as our standard programs, we on the left there, we found about 2 grade improvement in both maths and English for students on our program. That's from their baseline grades to GCSE grades. We also collect a range of what we call core area improvements. So this is self-reported by the student in areas like confidence or subject knowledge. And again, there we tend to see quite significant improvements over the course of our program. Again, I would say in current lockdown conditions, a lot of the schools we're working with are looking at 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that. Obviously, that's a slightly shorter amount of time. And have just put some quotes on the right there. Those are all from schools in Essex that we've worked with. So TownTed, if you're looking at how to support your disadvantaged students, some of the things that we feel we're well positioned to support with, for maybe the struggling students, this is an opportunity to go over material at a slower pace to make sure that they master it. Equally, at the other end of the spectrum, for those strong students who maybe need to be challenged to achieve those top grades. And then we do a lot of revision and exam prep. That's sort of our sweet spot. And finally, I won't go over this in detail, but as I mentioned, we work with a number of schools in Essex, mainly those closer to London. That's where we're based. But that just for reference, really. And that's all. I think I'm just about to time. There are my details. I'll also be in the breakout room later, so happy to take any questions there as needed. Thanks very much.
It's great, thank you, Aaron. So next up, we have, let me just take control from Aaron. Well, having the same issues. There we go. Next up, we have Push.
Hi, how you doing?
Hello.
I'm good. Hi, everyone. I'm going to lead this, and we've got Aaron as well. So if Aaron is there, he is. He shaved his head recently because there was half a bottle of hair dye left from his girlfriend. So he got a bit bored in isolation. I've never seen him look like Ewan McGregor from the start of Train Spotting. He usually has lovely brunette hair. You're not in a prison cell, Aaron. You okay?
Yeah, not in a prison cell as much.
You could be. I don't know. You got a blank background behind you.
Yeah, not in a prison cell as much. Said I got quite bored in isolation. So I hope people are keeping isolation a bit better than mine at the minute.
And I'm just going to I'm really nervous about this kind of Zoom stuff. More just tech handling. Aaron is our techie. Do I press slideshow from current slide?
If anyone can't see Moj and I, by the way, and hasn't done already, if you tap the 3 dots on one of the video boxes, you're able to hide all non-video participants. So Moj and I should be the only ones on then.
Great. And remind me, what time do we have until? Because we're running slightly behind, aren't we? So we've got until...
Sorry, so you guys have got until 32 minutes past. 33 minutes past. Oh, actually, no. Got 8 minutes. I'll just tell you.
Yeah, okay. Oh, God, right, okay. Yeah. Going back to my GCSE maths now. So that's 10:36. God, that's really bad to say. 6 or 7 minutes, 10:37 maybe, when there's loads of schools watching. I did get an A star as well. That's awful. Right, okay. So hi, everyone. I'm Moj. I'm an actor, a comedian, And I'm also a scuba diver. I have my scuba diving suit on. This will make sense in a bit. I'm firstly really warm. I didn't really think this through. And secondly, I really need a wee. I always, before a performance or an audition, I always need a nervous wee. Anyway, but I won't go. Not that you'd know if I did, but I promise I won't. So this is me and Aaron. Aaron is a screenwriter. I've put a bit of just detail about what we do, but I don't really need to go through this. Hopefully, Make Happen can share this presentation afterwards. So yeah, this stuff's on the website. It's more just for if you go through this PowerPoint again, hopefully if you get sent it, a bit about more detail about us as people. But moving on to the live sessions, what we're offering, and luckily, thank you very much, Adam, about going through the safeguarding, because we use Zoom as well at Push. So hopefully we don't have to go through too much of that. But a lot of it is the same as what he said. Aaron and I and the rest of the Push team, we're all enhanced DBS checked. We all have a background in performance or screenwriting. So Aaron's a professional screenwriter, as well as working at Push. I am actor, comedian, and I teach scuba diving as well, help on conservation projects. And the other members of our team who have delivered things in Essex, I believe is Ibs. Okay, Ibs is from London, but he's done a lot of sessions across Essex for you guys. And Lorna. And Lorna is, she's from Essex. So she's a really good kind of extra kind of point that we have, point of contact with students to make it impartial, to make it relatable. And the rest of us are based in London, so it's obviously easy for us to get to you guys. Aaron usually hosts the webinars. Yeah, the safeguarding, as we say, we don't need to go through that too much. The live sessions as well, what we try and do is have a two-pronged approach. So it's never just the live stream that we do, which is usually about up to an hour. We try and make sure, or we do make sure, that we have a summary afterwards where we ensure that any questions they asked, and we make sure they're encouraged to ask them anonymously. Any questions they ask, we form into a nice bullet point summary of the session, as well as answering their questions. And we can often, we've been in discussions with other NCOPs, UniConnect now, isn't it? Changes every 2 days. But we can bring in the UniConnect team or the teachers on a shared document afterwards, just on a Google Drive, to actually help us answer those questions. So it's a really nice collaborative approach to a 2-page summary. And we understand that not every student can make it to the sessions. Some of them might have anxiety, they might have problems at home, they might have barriers, which we're aware of, such as being able to access it only on their mobile. So Zoom is very mobile friendly, but also they might not have access to a laptop. And obviously BBC did an article about sending out laptops to the most disadvantaged students. So we want to make sure that if students can't come to the session, there's a 2-page summary that is bespoke created per school by the school, the UniConnect and us, based on the students having to be active in the session. And then that can be emailed as a digital PDF to them, or it can also be printed out and sent by post to students who either could make it, to remind them of the points, with QR codes to link them back to Make Happen, to Push's online resources. We have blogs, we have a YouTube channel. Everyone's been moving online recently, but we've not had to adapt too much because our focus and our specialty and USP is live performance with our core team. And we have over 50 videos on the YouTube channel anyway for Push, short advice videos between 2 and 10 minutes from our chief exec as well, who founded Push about 28 years ago. So we have a host of videos anyway for them right now, advice videos, which we're always encouraging people to share. But the idea is to create something bespoke, which can then link them back to the online resources, and obviously link in all of the Make Happen stuff with that as well. So yeah, the price of them is, I put $250 plus VAT, but it's £300 all inclusive for a session. I say a session, if there's a year group and it's got 100 or 200 or 300 students, our current capability with Zoom, we don't have the subscription for 500 students, which would be great. It costs about £1,000 a year. So we're a very cost-effective non-profit. So we basically charge running costs. So £300. Up for that, we'll do up to 3 sessions, which we hope would mean we can hit up to 300 students. We're happy to repeat the session back to back 3 times or on different days to reach as many of those students as possible in one year group. So it's essentially £300 per year group. Push, as we're all kind of live actors and comedians and things, we love a large audience. So it's great. We say that we work, good collaborative outreach, we say, is like a blender. It's a bit like a smoothie. We have all these different ingredients. Push is a really good base ingredient. It's a really good Kickstarter. we love a large audience. We love a whole year group. So you're hitting those Uni Connect students within it, but not necessarily doing the brilliant, more mentored, targeted one-to-one approach. We like to come before that to get excited, to give them feeling, but also to hit all the other students in the audience as well. So yeah, that's our approach. And the offering, year 11s to 13s, we've got these things here. I don't really want to go through these too much because I want to use the last 3 minutes, because you guys can hopefully look over what we offer for different sessions for 11s, 12s, 13s. But also we're working on year 9 and 10 ones as well, which we'll have ready for next week. But there's a good quote as well, which is hopefully available to read. That was from the first test webinar we did with Steve McCardle, who's the head of post-16 at Durham Johnston Comprehensive. And I believe he was a speaker at the UCAS conference as well earlier this year. So he gave a good comment, and he participated as a student in that. So he got a real student's eye view of the sessions. So yeah, I just want to kind of, I'll just give you a little taster of the sessions right now. Aaron, have you got your camera on? Because I didn't want to just do a boring, dry presentation. We wanted to show you a bit about what the students are actually going to see. So Aaron, where are you at the moment?
So at the minute I'm at Oxford University. So as Mo said, I'm one of the managers and I handle all the tech and sort of safeguarding for these live sessions online. So if you've got any more questions regarding safeguarding, things like that, please do ask them in the breakout and the Q&A functions. We'll be more than happy to try and help you out where we can. In regards to the tech, we sort of do polls, and I'll moderate the chat and Q&A functions of the sessions. So it just keeps interactivity with the students. I do things like this. So we get the Oxford University up, we do things like that, and I sort of change locations, sort of show that each university.
And we talk about, yeah, the difference between different places and how it makes you feel.
Yeah, so our main sort of thing it pushes trying to get students to really think about the university choices and make the decision that's right for them. So there'll be 1 minute I'm sort of here at Oxford, and I'll try places like Plymouth. We'll talk about the different sort of vibes you can get from different universities and try and get the students to think about what's right for them.
We always try and do that, don't we?
Yeah.
So we try and think about, it's not just uni, we talk about all options at 18, completely impartially. Like I say, we've done for about 28 years. One other thing I do to keep it interactive, I've currently got a lemon here, and I do a thing called a life cocktail. We try and imitate some of the interactive games we do in schools, which you can't always do here. So I've got ingredients. I've got one ingredient here that I've put in my life cocktail. I've got second ingredient here, which is a bit of cordial, and a third ingredient, which is gin. I'm only joking, it's not, it's water, I promise. So we do a live cocktail and we get the students to, we have to provoke interaction and thought by them every few minutes. So they have to comment on the cocktail, the metaphors, push to a lot of anecdotal evidence and metaphors through interactive games. So we talk about what those 3 ingredients are: skills, experience, and proof. And obviously not alcohol proof, but we talk about what those things are, how they can build them in isolation. So they have to come up with solutions just as much as we're giving them good, solid, impartial advice. One of the other things we do finally is we do little games like I get my cat involved. A cat is always very good. I give them tips about how you can do your hobbies indoors and be creative, such as why I'm wearing a wetsuit indoors, because I get my mask on and put a GoPro camera from YouTube stuck to my face, and I recreate me on the floor scuba diving. But one other thing I have is I get my cat to answer questions. So I have 2 bowls here, which I've got him to come, and I've got one bowl which we do as a yes question and one bowl which we do as a no question. And we basically sometimes, because we don't always want to be too serious, it's about giving the students a bit of relief and a bit of comedy and some feeling in isolation, so that they actually want to look more at the detailed resources. We get my cat to just answer some questions and we see what he does. This is yes, this is no. JB, will there be jobs for humans after COVID-19? Which one are you going to go for? Oh, I think he actually went for no. Anyway, that's just hopefully a taster of what we do. And I think I kept to 7 or 8 minutes. I hope I did. And as I say, I hope you get the PowerPoint, but I didn't want to just do a PowerPoint. I wanted to give you a student's view of a bit of the stuff we do. And obviously we'll be in the Q&A to answer more detailed questions on structure and safeguarding and things like that. I think that's it. And hopefully Elise is still there.
Yeah, I am. Sorry.
Sorry, you're probably fascinated by JB. I think he went for the yes bowl, but now he's eating both. So that's impartial information, if anything.
Yeah, so as Madge mentioned, you guys will be in the Q&A and as well in the breakout sessions after. So if anyone does have any questions for either of them, then feel free to put them in the chat. Next up, we have Tech Girls.
And apologies if I didn't get to the end of these slides, you can just zoom them on. I'm going to sign off.
So all the slides will be available on the Make Happen website after. So next up, we have Tech Girls. So Satvinder is there.
Hello.
Yep.
Hi, can you see me, hear me? Brilliant. Thank you very much.
So you should now have control of my screen as well.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining today. Thank you for Make Happen for organising this. I think it's just a great way of trying to engage outreach providers into schools, which is obviously it's a great time now to do this. So I'm the founder of Tech Girls. Tech Girls is an outreach provider. We specialise in STEM and try to get more girls to think about tech careers and STEM careers really. So if we have a look at, so if I basically give you an overview, my background is from technology and I also lean into education. So I also specialise in apprenticeships and I'm a qualified assessor, verifier, again, like the other panellists, DBS checked and very passionate about sharing knowledge and education really. So many of our workshops are conducted at school and usually to a huge group of anything up to 80 to 100 girls at a time. So we have a real kind of buzzy style workshop. So we're trying to almost imitate that online. Our workshops are very open, so there's never a correct answer. They promote things like creativity, critical thinking, product management, innovation, all of the skills that we need in the working environment. So we increase confidence and raise aspirations. Many of the girls that we have worked with have decided to go on to do A-levels and then go on to do an apprenticeships, and through our industry partners have managed to find either industry internships or apprenticeships and gone on then to go to university. So it's really it makes me quite very positive in the way that we've worked to be able to raise aspirations and make sure that girls can see that they have opportunities and they're able to influence their futures. So I'm basically going to go through the program that we have set, which is online. So we've got Tech for Wellbeing, and basically the Tech for Wellbeing is a project about how we understand how do we use technology, especially in this time where many of us we're all locked down, we're all living in different environments. How does that make us feel? Some people have huge gardens and big houses that they're able to enjoy. Some are not so privileged and are trying to make the best of smaller spaces. So internally as a student, how does that make us feel with the pressure of remote learning, with the pressures of everything else that's going on around us? How can we use technology to make ourselves feel a bit happier? And how can technology help us? So this is a project that we have where the students will design an app, basically looking at health, basically looking at health functions. The next one we have is about living smarter. So again, most of our program is very project based, so it's open-ended, and the students can actually work on the project, and then there are other things they can do in terms of development. So should they want to, they can go on and make their own app or design their own website, which is something really nice. So they'll get the initial foundation from the program. The next one we're doing is about living smart. So we look at pollution. How is it affecting, the ocean? How is it affecting our world? The students get to analyze their use of plastic within the house, and that might have increased now because we're in lockdown. We're probably eating more, we're buying more, and how is that impacting our planet? So the question is asked again: how can we use technology to be able to support or prevent pollution. Many of the councils have closed their tips. How is that impacting our environment? There's an increase in fly tipping. What can we do? So all of these questions that are in the kind of in the world at the moment, we go back to the students and say, what can you do? How can you think critically about the world, not only using the technology that we currently have? How can we make things different? Because we are looking at a world where we need a world of innovators. If you've got a great idea, you can actually go out there and build it and probably make lots of money out of it. So that's the plan. The next activity we have is one around personal branding. So that's mainly for years 10 and 13, trying to get them to think positively about social media. How can we use LinkedIn to build our personal brand? What's the importance of having an online CV? So we'll go through the tips and tricks of how to set up a LinkedIn profile, which many of them may not have done, understand the importance of a LinkedIn profile, and also your network. So how can they get the best out of their network if they're looking for an internship, or they're looking to go to university, or looking for even some kind of work experience? What can they do, and how can they do it through LinkedIn? So those are the key pointers there within that session. All the information I'm sure is going to be shared with you anyway in terms of pricing and there we go. So the next one is for year 9. So this is one that I think is particularly prevalent at this time, which is the digital footprint. Students are spending a lot of time online, either remote learning or playing games or on social media. How does that impact us? How do we need to leave behind a positive footprint that which will positively impact our future going forward? So we try and deliver these in different ways, but I'll go through that at the end. The next one, transition to university. The year 13s have pretty much missed out on the final few months of their academic year. So what can we do to support them to go into university? So this session here goes through almost the mental transition of going to university and the physical. So how can you prepare in terms of yourself? Do you need to pack? Do you need to learn how to cook? How does that make you feel? Have you looked at the universities? Have you done a virtual tour? So all of those things will be encapsulated in this workshop. Okay, and finally, next steps, which is, again, and I'm speaking really fast because I think I've only got about a minute or two left. Next steps is, again, year 13s. What other options do you have other than going to university? So we talk about apprenticeships and the different industries that are involved within delivering apprenticeships. How do you do it? What skills do you need? Okay, finally, Tech Girls, the title says, but we're delivering to boys and girls because it's remote delivery for everybody. I'm mindful that even though there's a big focus on remote delivery, that many students wouldn't have access to a laptop or an iPad during a school day because their parent might be using it because they may be working from home. So just to make the programs accessible, they will be live and pre-recorded, but we can speak about that when we go to the breakout room. And obviously they will be live and they will be recorded, so we can make sure that everybody has access to them. But that's enough from me. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, and I'll speak to you all in the breakout area soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Satvinder. So next up, we have Luke from Make Happen, just talking through our kind of offering. You there, Luke?
I'm here, yeah. Thanks, Elise. Let's just check this is working. Sorry, 1 second. So hi guys, my name's Luke. So I'm a collaborative outreach officer for Make Happen, for those that I haven't met before. Just trying to put this on slideshow, sorry. Okay, so you've already seen how some of our providers have adapted their content for online delivery, but we also just want to take you through some of the sessions that we've adapted centrally as Make Happen. So I just want to run you through each session, tell you the kind of main aims and objectives of each one, the year groups it's suitable for, and the average time it will take for a student to complete it. I'll keep it fairly brief as we only have around 8 or 9 minutes, but any questions you have, feel free to pop them in the Q&A function below, or pop into the Make Happen breakout room following the presentations this morning. So the kind of platform that we've opted for to deliver these sessions is Google Classroom, and we've opted for this because it is easily accessible through a web link and a code, and it doesn't require you to download or install any software. Also, the sign up is very simple. So students can use their current email address if they haven't signed up for a Google service before, like Gmail, Maps, or YouTube. And in case they already have an account if they've accessed one of those services before. So we have tried to make the sessions as interactive as possible. So there'll be quizzes, videos, online tasks for students to engage with, so it won't all be delivered via a PowerPoint presentation. So as I run through some of these, it may be worth you noting down the ones you might be interested in accessing, and then inform you on how to do that when we come to the end of the presentation. Okay, so first of all, we have study skills. So this is basically around how to create an effective mind map, what image chains are and how we can use them to help us remember information, learning how to consolidate key information using mnemonics, loci and the Enigma system. And like I said before, this workshop, among others, uses several videos and optional tasks, and has a worksheet the students can print, although it's not required. This is suitable for years 9 to 13 and lasts between 30 and 60 minutes. Next, we have post year 11 options. So this is exploring options after year 11, finding a bit more about kind of further education, apprenticeships, and the difference between these options. Starting to think about your own future and your action plan, and also to show how you're developing qualities and skills that will help improve employability. And this is suitable for year 10 and 11 students and lasts approximately 30 minutes. Next, we have higher and degree level apprenticeship. So this is learning about the different levels of apprenticeship and progression routes, gaining an understanding about the skills that are sought after by employers who are currently offering apprenticeships, gaining a brief understanding of the differences between apprenticeships and university. And again, like the others, offers different kind of videos, quizzes, and interactive elements for the students to engage with. And this is suitable for years 9 up to 13 and lasts approximately between 20 and 45 minutes. The next presentation that we have available for online delivery is University Life. So this is really about discovering the benefits of higher education. So exploring the differences between a school and a university education, have an understanding of academic and social elements of university. And we also want the students by the end of it to be able to navigate the UCAS website to research courses and different providers. Again, this is kind of suitable for years 9 up to 13. And lasts approximately between 30 and 60 minutes. Okay, and looking at careers, so this is about understanding the difference between a career and a job, and gaining a clearer understanding of different levels, so the GCSE ladder and what levels we want students to achieve next. And students will map their own future by creating what we call a me map, and explore examples of other career pathways. This session is suitable for years 9 up to 12. And like the other ones, last kind of between 30 and 60 minutes. And transferable skills. So for this particular online session, we do have a pre-16 version and also a post-16 version. So the pre-16 one really is kind of discovering what transferable skills are, and being able to identify them, and reflecting kind of students. We want students to reflect on their own skills and how to showcase them with different techniques. But also kind of the main thing is to understand why transferable skills are useful for future careers and education plans, no matter what kind of route you're going down. But the post-16 one is very similar to the pre-16 transferable skills session, except that the kind of first section, the session looks at personal statements and cover letters, and the students will then practice identifying transferable skills from extracts of both. And this is suitable for years 9 up to 13 and lasts approximately between 30 and 45 minutes. And financial capability. So this is about developing students' financial capability by introducing a range of important financial concepts, applying kind of what students have learned to practical scenarios, and the students will work their way through easy to understand information through a series of quizzes and online tasks. Suitable for years 9 up to 13 and lasts approximately between 30 and 60 minutes. And a kind of taster lesson that we have available is forensic linguistics. So understanding kind of the field of forensic linguistics and the methods used. And also it gives students the opportunity to solve a case using methods of forensic linguistics and discover pathways to kind of study and the career options that could follow by doing that particular subject. And the session may be of interest to those looking at careers involving language and or law. And again, this is suitable for years 9 up to 13 and lasts between kind of 20 and 30 minutes. Okay, so now for our kind of future ready program. So this is mainly intended for years 12 and 13, those in sixth form and in FE. And so the first one is called Resolution. So this explores kind of core values and personality preferences using reflective exercises and the online 16 personality test, which is based kind of on the well-established Myers-Briggs type indicator. And this session really invites participants to think about these attributes and how they relate to career and education choices. And it's intended to encourage and enable participants to think about who they are and what is important in life. So like I said, intended for years 12 and 13. This lasts for approximately 45 minutes. And the next one is called Love What You Do. So understand the importance of enjoying what I do and discover ways to help identify their career choices, in identifying passions and skills, and how these ideas can be applied to choosing a higher education qualification. Like I said, aimed at FE students across colleges and sixth forms, and part of the Future Ready programme. And this lasts for about 45 minutes. And CV and covering letters. So this is to kind of identify what a CV and covering letter is and their differences, outlining common errors in a CV and covering letter and how to format both correctly, and understanding and analysing the purpose of a job specification and how you should use this to kind of meet the job criteria in your covering letter. Suitable for FE and sixth form students and lasts between 30 and 40 minutes. Okay, so that was a really, really quick kind of run through of the different sessions that we offer. So we would obviously usually deliver these live, but I think we've done quite a good job in terms of adapting them for online. And like I said, we have tried as much as possible to make them interactive. So different videos, quizzes, and that kind of thing. So in terms of being able to access these Google Classrooms, if you contact your Make Happen link initially, they will then send you for a guide to help you and also the students. You can send this guide on to the students, and this will help them navigate the platform, and will also send you a code for your particular school, which will enable you and your students to access the session. And as you saw as we went through, all session lengths will vary depending on the length of time spent on activities, quizzes, etc. So if you are unsure of who your collaborative outreach officer is, or you are new to Make Happen, you can still request these sessions. So all you need to do is drop us an email at communications@makehappen.org, and one of the team will get in contact with you to tell you kind of the next step. So like I said, we will have our own kind of breakout room in terms of Make Happen. So if you want any more information on any of the sessions that I've kind of gone through really briefly just then, feel free to pop in and ask us a question. If not, either kind of contact your Make Happen link, or like I said, drop us an email at that email address at the bottom. All right, but I'll hand back over to Elise. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Luke. So as Luke said, we do have a breakout room. So if you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat, in the Q&A function, sorry, or join our breakout room later. Next up, we have Mr. Beasy. Mr. Beasy's there.
Yeah, I'm here.
So you should now have access to my screen, so you can change it as you wish.
Oh yeah, brilliant. Lovely. I think I do have access now. Yes. Just scrolling to get to my presentation. There we are. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to make this presentation actually very quickly. It's a pleasure to be here just to see everyone, especially during these times. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Mr. Beasy. I'm an inspirational, motivational speaker. It's actually been a decade this year that I've been speaking and motivating children in schools. You know, over the last 10 years, I've motivated over 20,000 students. I've spoken in hundreds of schools, literally all across the country, and I've gone abroad to do it as well. That's just to kind of to give you a background check. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to be on this sort of presentation today is because since lockdown has happened, someone like myself, I'm used to going into schools and, you know, doing motivational assemblies, doing motivational workshops. But like everybody else, I've had to isolate and, you know, transfer my services online. And one thing I realized is I had a lot of students reach out to me saying that they're struggling with, you know, certain aspects of the lockdown. I've spoken to so many different members of staff that I have a relationship with, and they've been letting me know about the sort of challenges that they have. So based on sort of these conversations, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna put together these online workshops that will benefit the young people and staff. So one of the first workshops that you'll see on my presentation is how to stay motivated. And if there's one thing that I've realized during this pandemic, is students are struggling to stay motivated because, there's that independent learning now that they have to do online, and they haven't got that accountability that teachers would usually give them within their classroom. So I've created this workshop where I'm able to kind of engage with the students and help them to remember why they need to stay motivated. Now, although it says services are eligible for year 7 to 13, I want to just make it clear that every single service that I'm going to be speaking about today is eligible for years 9 to 13. And also that all the duration for all of my workshops will be 1 hour long, just so that we're really clear, okay? Another workshop that I developed was called The Secrets to Staying Focused. And another thing that I realized is that students were struggling to stay focused. And I've developed a workshop that, has different games, tasks that the students can do that will help them to, get rid of distractions and have a better level of focus. Because if there's one thing I've realized, because they're in a new environment of learning, which is their home, they've got so many distractions from family members to the actual pressure of having to do independent learning. And I've, got a few tools and tips that I've used personally that I know that will help the students to remain focused. And as I'm saying this, guys, I've actually done these workshops with some schools already. So these are tried and tested. And, I've had some really good feedback from students and parents about the workshops. I've also developed what I call a mental fun workshop, because one thing I've realized is, and I know that even at the beginning of the lockdown was a struggle for me, was a lot of people are struggling to manage their mental health. So I've created a workshop for students where, we literally come together and we have fun. We are gonna, have games, we're gonna have icebreakers. And the whole purpose of this is to help students manage their well-being. Because as much as, we want them to get on with work, as much as we want them to get tasks done, one thing that I believe is very important in this season is that we help them to manage their well-being and their mental health. So this workshop is no work related, but it's literally just for the students to kind of let their hair down for an hour. Let's have some fun, because for me, I personally believe if you allow them to manage their mental health, it helps them to stay in a positive state of mind, and it will allow them to continue to, getting their work done and completing tasks that the school have set for them. Another workshop that I have was, how to access the power of your memory. So I'm not ignorant that, that in this season that, schools still want students to, learn and to be educated. So one of the things that I've developed is, I have a workshop where, I teach students different memory skills. I teach them the techniques on how to remember information and to retain information. I teach them about the importance of revision, and I show them creative ways on how they can actually revise, because a lot of students in my years of speaking, they don't like revision, let's be honest. And I don't think I even liked revision when I was in school. But one thing we can realize is and appreciate is that revision is important to their success. So I show students different methods in which they can learn information and remember information. I show them how their brain works when it comes to revision, and we just learn in a creative environment, because I find that when students are having fun learning, they're actually able to retain a lot more information. Now, you'll also see that I offer workshops in a half-day basis or a full-day basis. And this is just basically any of the services that you've seen that I'm offering, you can have them back-to-back. So you can have the How to Stay Motivated workshop, and then you can have another hour where it's the, how to access the power of your memory workshop. And then to round off the day, you might have the mental fun workshop. So you can have all of these workshops mixed into one. And also I'm happy to tailor bespoke workshops specifically for schools, because I know that different schools will have different needs. Some schools might have high achieving students that have low self-esteem. Some schools might have students that are struggling, with their confidence. And, there's one thing that I've realized is, that accountability for students at the moment is very difficult. You know, I've spoken to members of staff who are telling me that, you know, they're calling students at 11:30, 12 p.m. in the day, and the students are just getting out of bed. So, you know, these workshops will be tailor bespoke so that, you know, we can really help students become encouraged again and to believe in their future and the success that they want to achieve. I also offer a 6 to 10 week mentorship program where the school will select about a maximum of 15 students, a small cohort of students that I'll work with specifically for, you know, 6 to 10 weeks. And, you know, we'll cover so many different topics, from study skills, from personal motivation to struggles that they're facing, to their attitude to learning. And, you know, we will work with them for a period of time, whether it be 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or 10 weeks. And the reason why this is because as much as, you know, the 1 hour is great, certain students also need that extra attention. And what I'll be doing with the mentorship program is giving them that close mentorship. It will be week by week, consecutively. I'll be checking up with them. I'll be doing workshops with them. I'll be doing tasks to help them basically personally develop themselves so that they can stay motivated and stay focused for their future. And then the last workshop that I'm offering is the parents and carers workshop. But the one thing that I realized is we cannot neglect parents in this time, and we want to just kind of still continue to bridge the gap between schools and the parents. And I've created a workshop just to help parents stay motivated as well, but to also show parents how they can support their students with their education. Because what you find is in the season as well, parents might be juggling jobs and not be able to give students the attention that they need. And, you know, I'll just be there to able to just show parents just some tools that I've kind of learned and adapted over the years that have worked in terms of engaging young people, so that, you know, in this time we can all work together. And that's the end of it. If you guys have any sort of questions that you want to ask me, then please feel free to ask me in the breakout rooms. I'll be happy to answer any more questions in depth. And I want to thank you all for your time this morning. Thank you very much. Over to you, Elise.
Thank you, Mr. Beasy. So as he said, it will be in the Q&A. So if you guys do have any questions, then feel free to head on in there and just ask him. So next up, we have MAID training. So we have Corinne and Sander.
Hello, hello.
Good morning, everybody.
Here we go.
Just wait for the camera to come on, I think.
Corinne, I can see you.
You can see me. I can't see myself, but that's not an issue. Good morning, everyone. Thank you ever so much for this opportunity, Elise and Chloe. My name is Corinne Mitchell. I'm the project manager at MAID Training, and I'm joined by my colleague, Sander, head of training at MAID. And we are here today to talk about our, not Mr. Beasy. And we're here today to talk about our remote learning video portal.
Thanks, Corinne. I'm Sander de Groot. I'm the head of training for MAID. I'm responsible for developing our products and for training our training team. Now, traditionally, we've spent our time going around the country delivering skills-based live workshops to students, teachers, and parents on effective learning, studying, revision. Over the last 4 years, we've been taking all of the strategies that we share around learning, also around motivation, resilience, and we've been putting them into 2-minute bite-sized videos. This lockdown has come at a time where we were developing our delivery platform. So we're now at the stage of being able to offer all those videos as part of an integrated course. I'm going to hand you over to Corinne, who's going to tell you a little bit about the company, MAID Training, and then I'll take over and have a look at the platform and the guided workbook that's going to go along with it. Back to you, Corinne.
Thank you. So MAID, we are the experts in thinking, studying and revision skills. We've been working with Make Happen for 3 years since the inception of the project, alongside a number of other Uni Connects, Sander says. So we work right across the UK. We're extremely proud of the feedback and evaluation that we consistently receive. And since, as we say, since the beginning of Uni Connect, or NCOP as it was in its early days, we've worked with a large number of the partnerships across the country. And as Stephen alluded to earlier, the importance of evaluation, it's been great for us to be independently evaluated and see that the work that we're having is having a profound effect on the students, teachers and parents that we work with. In Essex alone, we've worked with 29 schools, I think, and the university a number of times. And we've put in there just a typical comment from one of the schools just before the coronavirus lockdown. I'll give you a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, just to have a quick read of that. So that hopefully gives you a flavour of who we are, what we do, and the coverage that we have.
Lovely, thanks, Corinne. So before I show you the delivery platform and the workbook, let's have a look at the outcomes and how we're going to deliver this. So what we're going to aim to do is to help your students to focus, to analyze what they're learning, to deeply process it and understand it, to memorize it, and then be able to recall that information. How do we do that? We do that by sharing specific skills, strategies, techniques, and methods for learning and studying, and also the science behind them. Many of us want to know exactly where these techniques came from and what the science is behind them. So let's have a look in a bit more detail about the video portal. So those 4 little windows that you see show you the structure of each of our videos or lessons. And each one is around 2 minutes in length. Starts off with an introductory screen, moves into myself delivering each strategy. Here you'll see the one for the Cornell method introduction. And then we'll also see pieces of where we'll be testing out the technique live. So you'll see that in the slide where someone is creating a sheet of Cornell notes. At the end of each video, there'll be a set of exercises. So the student can take what they've learned in the video and actually apply it. Because we know it's so important not to just flick from video to video, but take that moment after each lesson to process what they've learned, to practice it, to reflect, and then to embed it. So how does the portal work? So we've got 2 screens up here. The first one is the member login. So step 1, the student would log in with a school name and the password. So no sensitive student data is recorded. Step 2, they would select their year group. So you as the school can monitor which students from not which students, but how many students from each year group have accessed the courses. Then the student can download the workbook. Here we see the workbook. And then they're ready to begin the course. If a student is unable to print out the workbook at home, we also have notes on screen that the student can use to practice the techniques and to do the exercises on plain paper. Here we have the workbook and a couple of shots from the workbook. You'll notice that actually that it's set out using the Cornell method. And there'll be elements where the student needs to pick out specific words or facts from the videos. There are sections where they will write down their ideas. There are areas for practicing the exercises from the videos, and there are sections for the student to reflect on each technique and how they're going to take those forward. I'm going to hand you over to Corinne to talk a little bit about the cost, and then if we have time, hopefully we could share you a video.
Thank you, Sander. So as you can see from the slide, the videos and the skills, tools and techniques within are applicable to years from year 9s all the way through to year 13s. You can see there's a large number of the videos. They've been separated into 2 themes, one around effective mind mapping and note-taking, and one around your amazing memory. The workbook Sander just spoke about just a few moments ago. There's also the opportunity for evaluation. So there'll be a link to the Make Happen evaluation capturing web pages or portals that they may have, so the students can complete the exercises and at the end of the course can click through and complete a short survey. We're able to offer weekly reporting to Make Happen, which can be disseminated out to the school so they can get a better idea of how many students are using them from which year groups. And with regards to the cost, this can be from as little as £1 per student. So we'll be able to go into a little bit more detail about what that means in one of the breakout rooms. but effectively your school would have its own individual login. The students from any of those year groups would simply access it through one simple portal that would be Make Happens.
Now, question for Elise. As we have a couple of minutes left, can I try to share my screen and play one of the videos?
Oh, there you go. I think you can.
Here we go.
The Cornell method is a great way of taking notes in a live class or lecture. It was developed by Dr. Walter Pauk, professor at Cornell University. It encourages you to question and understand what you see and hear, and make revision notes as you go. Sounds too good to be true? Let's see how it works. First, we need to prepare our note paper. Take a piece of A4. We're going to start by drawing 3 lines. These divide our page into 4 simple sections, with each section having a specific purpose. So first, draw a line just down from the top. This is going to be our title section. Then draw a second line just up from the bottom of the page. That will be our summary section. Then draw a third line dividing the main body into a larger section on the right for your general notes, and a smaller section on the left for your revision questions. In the next video, we'll look in more detail at how we use each one of the sections and how they promote a 4-step process to record, analyze, understand, and revise your notes.
Wonderful. Let me press pause. So thank you very much for that. That's given you an idea of how the videos are structured, and you'll have noticed that there's pieces at the end for exercises that the student can conduct on plain paper or through the guided workbook. We hope that's given you a good, clear idea of the offering. Corinne, anything from you?
I don't think so, but we look forward to seeing 1 or 2 or more of you in the breakout rooms where we can answer any specific questions you might have.
Thank you all very much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you later.
Thanks again.
Thank you, guys. So next up, we have my tutor. So we have Richard, if you are there. Yes, you are.
Hello.
Just give you access. There you go. And I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, lovely. Looks like it's all worked out very well. Morning, everyone. Good to see you all. I can see some familiar names in the attendee list, so lovely to see you again. If it's been a little while, I hope you're all keeping safe and well. I'll give you the quick rundown of my tutor and how we work with schools. So we work with about 450 schools across the country now, lots of UniConnect programs, and actually lots of schools through Make Happen. But I'll give you a bit of an overview. So essentially, who we are in a nutshell, we provide live online one-to-one tuition in core subjects primarily. So there's a couple of things there. The first thing is that we're online. So that means that the sessions, you get the right tutor regardless of location, first and foremost. So the right tutor might be in Essex, but they might also be in York or in Exeter, it doesn't really matter. You also get flexibility on when and where to run those sessions, so I can tell you that normally we run these sessions in school as an intervention for Key Stage 3, 4 and 5. But at the moment, we're running all of our sessions at home, as you can imagine. You get that flexibility on when and where to run. The other part is that every session's recorded, which I'll come on to safeguarding, but it's also fantastic from a revision perspective. And I'll chat about that a bit later. So how it works, it's, what we ask for is what subject do you want to study? So it might be maths, English, science, all of those options are available. we ask for the exam board, and then all the student have to do is they log on and they get a live one-to-one hour with their tutor. I think the most important thing and the most relevant thing to chat about today is who the tutors are. So all of our tutors are either studying at or recently graduated university, and that really lends itself well to Uni Connect stuff. So first of all, they all have to have a great grade. So they have an A at A level and they're studying the subject at university. But I think you'll know that doesn't make you a great tutor, right? That just makes you smart. So beyond that, they then have one-to-one interviews to make sure they know their stuff. And then they go through a 16 module training course, which we built with teachers and Teach First, to make sure that they can deliver what's in their heads. And so then what you get out the back of it is you get someone who's really good at their subject, but also all the other benefits that come with being a student. So they're closer in age, they have recent exam experience. So when you've got disadvantaged, underrepresented students who are not sure what they want to do in terms of future access, they can chat to that student and they can be inspired by them, but they also get the academics to be able to help them boost their ability to actually go to university in the first place, and that helps to build confidence as well. So it's really quite a cyclical thing. Schools talk to us as all about confidence when they come out the back of it, but they often want to come into it in the first place to help those students secure grades to even think about future progression. And happy to answer any other questions about those tutors. So this is what our sessions look like. So we have our own lesson space. You can imagine there on the top right hand side, I was going to say it looks a bit like Skype, but I suppose these days it's like Zoom, isn't it? So you can see, in the top right hand side, the tutor and student can see and hear each other. And on the left hand side, you've got this big interactive whiteboard. So both the tutor and the student can edit that, upload past papers, everything else. Or we like to be led by the school. So where you have heads of departments that want to be involved and share insights in, they're struggling in these core areas, that's brilliant. Primarily the students we're working with at the moment are year 10s and 12s, the ones who are going into a future exam year and are going to be looking really nervous about their options for the future. So all of that stuff can be put up on there and is easy to share, and all of that thing's downloaded. The video, I won't risk playing it here, but I'll show it to you if you'd like at any session, including the breakouts. You also get access to a teacher portal. So when we ask for student data and we ask for target grades and all that kind of stuff, we set you up with a teacher portal, so you and any other teacher who wants to can see in full attendance of students, lesson reports, all that kind of stuff. So all of our lessons are 55 minutes, and the tutor has 5 minutes to write up a lesson report. What's great about that is that when you want to check in on someone and see what they've been going over, you can see where they're struggling, see where they've been improving, and have that input from a tutor. It's light touch, so you're all busy, you don't have to look into it in depth, but it's there for you as you need it. In terms of impact, we do a study every year. We did it, UCL helped us build it, and basically what we do every year is we take the starting grade of the student before they started with my tutor and their final grade, and we measure their progress in that subject, and we compare that with the same student but in other subjects. So the reason we do that is it's the best way to control for a lot of factors is to compare the student to themselves. It's not perfect, but it works pretty well. And what we typically find is that with 8 to 10 sessions, students make 2.5 the grade progress of their peers. So we're looking at about a grade that evens out. I've got some great impact report stuff, and without name dropping them, New Rickstones are in there, and they are an example of they're an Essex school who do things really, really well. So I'd be happy to share some best practice from them, because as with all one-to-one tuition stuff, it's as much in the framing as anything else in terms of how much the students can get from it. Quick one on safeguarding, just because everything's at home at the moment. So 3 major ways that we've always made sure we've been able to deliver from home. First one is that every tutor has an enhanced DBS check. That's the standard, you'd expect that. Everything's private, so there's no first names. Well, obviously there's first names. There's no second names. There's no contact details or anything like that. Student and tutor just log into the space. They have their chat. They go off the space. And also every session is recorded, so we can check back on anything that gets flagged up. I can't think of many. I mean, the only example I can think of is we might have had I think we had a couple of times where a student as they sworn at a tutor, and we've been able to verify that it happened, and our tutors are fully trained in all of that to make sure that they've got that down. In terms of pricing, obviously this is something to chat about with you know, when we make with Make Happen schools, they get a flat rate. Sorry, Jen, could you get the post? Sorry. So they get a flat rate with my tutor with Make Happen. So we recommend 10 sessions, and that works out at £23 an hour for GCSE and £25 an hour for A level. Got to get the post. They'll run away otherwise. So check in with your Make Happen coordinators, but that's the rate we're able to offer for all schools to see that impact and to get that one-to-one tuition. And I think that is pretty much it. So I'm aware that, you know, if there are any questions, please do let me know. But I suppose if there's anything else that I think might be useful, I don't think there's anything else particularly useful. I've got a wealth of ideas in terms of, you know, operationally how to run a great program. Really, that could be really effective. But happy to talk that through with you at any time. Would be useful.
Thank you, Richard. Sorry, I'm echoing.
All right.
There we go. So that is my tutor. So next up we have I am a scientist. So we should have Jen around.
Just unmute me.
Yeah.
Hello?
So we can hear you. There we go.
Okay.
And now we can see you. There you go. You should have control on my screen. Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Right. Okay, so I'll just skip back there. So yeah, we run, I'm a scientist and I'm an engineer. Normally, in the usual scenario before the beginning of the last couple of months, we run these activities 3 times a year in 2-week runs. And it's called I'm a Scientist, Get Me Out of Here. The students come online, have live chats with scientists, get to ask them questions on the site, and then they vote for their favourite to win a public engagement prize at the end of it to go and spend on doing more public engagement. We've rebranded for the foreseeable until hopefully around July to I'm a Scientist, Stay at Home, and we also have I'm an Engineer, Stay at Home as well. And on this slide here, we've got our normal cost for Make Happen schools, or schools who have access to Make Happen funding, or Uni Connect funding in general. At the moment, after a chat with my boss this morning, it's been decided that for the period of the stay-at-home projects, because of support from a major funder, we will be able to offer this as a trial period free to all schools for the stay-at-home period. So it's suitable for all years. Obviously for Make Happen, that's years 9 to 13. I'm just going to take you through sort of what it's about and what some of the benefits are. And my contact, or our team contact, is at the bottom of that slide there if you'd like to get in touch with us to ask any questions, but you can also ask me afterwards in the breakout room. So we base it around a science capital approach in increasing the students' confidence and engagement with science and engineering. So like I said, it's an online thing normally, so we're quite used to having this. We've now rebranded to Stay at Home, and we're ramping up capacity as much as we can to get as many schools and students to be able to connect with scientists online, so that the students can stay engaged and keep that motivation, because that's one of the things we get in feedback, is that students who take part in this get motivated in science more and enjoy science lessons more afterwards, after they've taken part. So the 3 things they can do is they can ask questions which the scientists can answer on the site in a sort of blog format. They engage with scientists in real time in live chats, and that's all text-based chat. And one of the key benefits of that is that it increases the participation of those students who normally might not speak up in class as much. This is what the site looks like at the moment. So you can see there, we've got a section for teachers, and that's the normal registration page. Down the side there, our little latest questions widget shows you the sort of questions that students often ask on the site. One of the key things for us is that it's student-led, so they ask about the things that they really want to know, that they're interested in, and that gives them a sense of control over it. So it makes them then hopefully more engaged. It also connects for them how science is relevant to their own lives. So things, for example, so your profile picture has a picture of a dog, and I like animals a lot, and then they go on to ask the scientist about their pets or something else. And down there you can see my mummy looks after people on ventilators. So we have this open for primary school and secondary all the way to A level. So we get a lot of different types of questions on our site. So like I said, this is some of the examples from a case study from a teacher who's worked with us before about the way that students find it better. You can see my housemate Sid in the background there. I should just turn back around. We have a Dalek in our house. So yeah, students find it easier to open up in this text-based chat format. And this is feedback from a teacher who said they went to a university event and the students have things they want to ask, but they find it very difficult to go and approach a scientist. They think, why would they want to talk to me? And in this format that we use, it really gets students to open up and ask all sorts of questions. So you can see here again, things about what got the scientists to where they are and how their career route progressed. Also things like what's your favorite video games and what's your favorite band. And it gets them to see scientists as real people as well, who have other interests outside science and who can connect to them, and then they see that scientists are just people like them, and science could be for them as well. Oh, I just realized we've got someone's profile image just covering up the text there a bit, but this is an example of a few of the scientists and engineers who are currently taking part in the stay-at-home activities. And they have a range of different backgrounds and career routes into where they're currently working. And they write a little profile about them that the students can go on and read before they have their live chat, so they can find out who they'll be talking to. And you've got a few examples here. Someone who lives with their partner and their 1-year-old son with 4 chickens. Mohammed, who is a neuroscientist and avid weird suit collector. I quite like that one. And I do love his suit in that picture. So, the first 4 there are all on the scientist site. Charlene and Louise are from the engineer site. But yeah, so we get all sorts of questions and all sorts of people taking part as well. So you can see as well, they come from a range of backgrounds. A large cohort is PhD students because they are often encouraged to do lots of public engagement by their universities and get involved in that sort of thing. And there's a lot of funding for PhD students to use that as a sort of CPD to increase their communication skills and things like that. So we've got feedback from them that it really helps them as well. So they take a lot out of it and say how much they enjoy it, as well as the students, which is brilliant. Something we're very proud of is that, the data on these slides is from 2017. We've got more evaluation on our site that you can read about if you choose to. But yeah, students that take part in our events, so they're more likely to study after GCSE, to carry on studying STEM subjects, which is brilliant. But it's also just about increasing the science capital of those students who, even if they don't choose to carry on studying, they feel more connected to science and less like it's such an alien subject, so that they go on through their lives with this idea that science isn't something that stays in ivory towers. Yeah, so that's a bit about us. If there's any more questions sort of about how it works and anything like that, please ask in the breakout room. Just a couple of things about the security of the site that I want to take you through. So the way we run it is that we give you as a teacher a login, you create a registration URL for your students that then enables them to make their accounts on the site. So only students who've been given access by their teacher can log in to the zones and access the chats, and the chats are all kept private. No personal details are shared on the site, and we have moderators who are fully DBS checked, who are also moderating all the student questions that come in and student content. So it's all safe and secure, and that bit's all taken care of. Is there anything else that I need to answer quickly before I hand back over? I think that's most of the important details covered. Again, ask me anything you like in breakout rooms, and I'll hopefully see lots of you there.
Thank you, Jen. So there was a question in the Q&A, so if you could answer that in that function.
Yeah, no problem, I'll go do that.
Thank you. So next up we have Sahila. If you can, I think you should be able to turn on your video. I think. Yeah, there we go. Let me just give you access. There you go. So now you can control my screen.
Hi everyone, I can't see me. I'm hoping you can see me.
Yeah, we can.
You can, brilliant. Okay. Not actually taken control of a, yeah, there we go. Okay, so that is working. Let's go back. Okay, so I'm Shahila Barak, and I'm a teacher, a trainer, an NLP coach, NLP being neuro-linguistic programming, and also an L&D consultant. So I've got a wide range of experience, have been working around children's services, both with children, young people, and of course the professionals that work with them. So my job is to train them, but I also do some work directly with the children and young people myself as well. So that's me. So the services that I'll be providing are mentoring sessions, the masterclasses, and parent care engagement sessions. Those are the areas that we'll be focusing on. Most of my sessions will be very much taking a coaching NLP teacher approach, but will be all about looking at the students and encouraging the students to focus on their own needs and identifying how and what sort of support they need in order to move forward. The mentoring sessions are designed to provide ongoing support to the students and to help them make informed decisions. Now, a lot of this will hopefully link up to quite a lot of the offerings that I've just seen on the presentations, but also the Make Happen offerings also that are available on the Google. All the sessions that I'll be running are going to be presented on Zoom. I think it's a really good option because, as mentioned previously, and this is something that I'm actually working with local authorities to do as well at the moment, is to help young people access laptops, etc. But every young person has a phone, and Zoom can be accessed on mobile phones. So I felt that was a much better option. So the mentoring sessions will focus on the masterclass topics. So it may be that we've had a masterclass topic and there are still areas that perhaps need addressing for specific students, and we can have a additional sort of session with them to help them along. There are also additional support topics as well, which are listed there, exploring the benefits of higher education. And I will be looking at higher education and also looking at the degrees as well, the degree apprenticeships as well. So the apprenticeship schemes I find sometimes a lot more attractive to young people who don't really want to do a full-on degree. We'll also be signposting to additional support, and some of this support I've already seen is available from some of these presentations. We'll be looking at overcoming barriers and anxieties. Young people have a lot of anxieties around starting something new, stepping out of their comfort zone and going into a whole new environment. We'll look at volunteering to gain experience. I have lots of contacts around organisations that would be willing to take young people on, but just really guiding them on additional things that they can do to make themselves more attractive to their chosen degree course or degree apprenticeship, whatever it may be. Also guidance on additional learning tools, webinars, seminars, online research. So just pointing them in the right direction to help them to get more insight into perhaps a topic they may be interested in taking further. And looking at motivation. So as a coach and an NLP practitioner, it is very much about mindset. So this is an opportunity for the young people in a way, using clean language, in a way that they could actually utilise their metaphors to learn more about themselves and of course help them to overcome any barriers that they may have to moving forward and fulfilling their aspirations. So the masterclasses that are available will focus on confidence building, and this is probably the longest course, the confidence building course, only because I believe that everything starts with confidence. You know, if you haven't got the confidence, then the motivation isn't there for you to do the other things that you need to do. And young people currently, having worked with many on one-to-one basis, always talk about not feeling confident enough. So I think working around the confidence aspect before we actually embark on anything else is usually a really good way forward. It means that they are motivated and focused and that we can move forward at a much better pace. I'll be working with young people on writing the personal statement, managing their time effectively, setting realistic goals, making sure that they don't set goals that will demotivate them from the offset, revision skills and interview skills. Now, there are a number of resources that I'll be using, worksheets, whiteboards, videos, and of course making sure that the young people can interact and give me their views, their ideas, their comments, and encouraging learner autonomy, making sure that they can support each other as much as possible. That seems to help young people to move forward and feel a part of something bigger. Parent care engagement sessions will include discussing aspirations and barriers to supporting their child, their young person, benefits of higher education, and the discussion around the options and apprenticeships are, in my opinion, fantastic. Degree apprenticeships are a fantastic option for young people who want to get that practical experience as well as getting that academic knowledge in place as well. I'll be able to provide details of degree and apprenticeship programs. This will be done through engagement with higher education institutions, talking about degree apprenticeships they offer or the degree options that they offer. So short, sharp videos telling young people what's out there and what's available in order to help them to make an informed decision. We'll talk about additional support and resources for parents and carers dependent on what they need. It's very much about tailoring to the needs of the cohort that is on Zoom at that moment in time. So most of my sessions will actually respond to the needs of the people that are around. I've got two cats on the table, so I apologise if one of them distracts and gets in the way of the camera. And also talking to parents about how they can help their child and support their child in their decision. I've done, and I still do, a great deal of parenting classes, working with parents and helping them to engage better with their children, young people, and making sure that they have lines of communication open. So these are the costs of the classes. The confidence is the longest, 6 1-hour sessions, and the price is allocated there. The master classes are 2 2-hour sessions, and for the purpose of the online sessions, I would recommend that we split them into 2 1-hour sessions. In terms of well, psychology definitely does suggest that 1 hour online is usually enough for a young person's attention span and the adult's attention span. We've been on here for a while now, but 1 hour is usually the most impactful amount of time to have young people engage online. We'll look at time management, revision skills, all of those are 2 2-hour sessions. Interview skills, 3 2-hour sessions, and this is to interview for universities, but also to take those skills and use them as transferable skills, really, to use them within the job market when they are ready to embark on employment. The mentoring class is 6 1-hour sessions again, and the reason being that, you know, there'll be a numerous amount of topics. The schools or the young people will be able to select the topics that they would like mentoring on, and we will take it from there, and I will tailor those sessions to ensure that they are getting value from the sessions. The parenting skills sessions, you can have a 1 2-hour session, or you can have a bulk, which will be a lot less in terms of costs for the schools. So 3 2-hour sessions at £6.50. Also the follow-up sessions, if you buy those on bulk, so if you buy 3 2-hour follow-on sessions to cover any of the master classes or the mentoring sessions for additional support, those will work out much cheaper if you buy 3 sessions at a time. 3 2-hour sessions broken down into 1-hour sessions. So we will discuss dates and requirements. Happy to discuss that with individual schools and colleges as required, and tailor an offer that is useful to you, valuable to you, and valuable to the young people that you will be putting forward for the programme. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm not sure if I've used up all of my time, but I'm sure Elise will tell me, but I will hang around for the Q&A. I'll hang around for the breakout room as well. So if you want to hold on until then, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. And I think that's me done. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, you did quite well with time, so well done. So next up, I believe we have Ben. So I'm just going to move the slideshow along. So Ben is from the Inspirational Learning Group. I believe Ben is going to take you through their online.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I'm just trying to find my web address. Bear with me. So yeah, we can hear you, Ben, so you're good for that.
Won't let me start video for some reason, so the host has stopped it.
Oh, okay, sorry. Hold on. There you go.
You don't have to see me. It's fine.
Wasn't anything personal. And share.
Oh.
So Ben, there you go. You should now have control of that.
Okay, hi everybody. Can everybody see me and hear me okay, hopefully? Yeah, so I'm from the Inspirational Learning Group. I'm just going to see if I can... Oh, there we go. Hopefully this will work. Yeah, so I'm from the Inspirational Learning Group. We are traditionally one of the leading providers of enterprise and employability competitions in the UK. Our main programme is the National Enterprise Challenge. So that challenge is we've worked with over 300,000 students since we started that. Myself and my cousin started the programme back in 2013. And traditionally we go to a school and we will deliver to the full year group, and they will work on a challenge set by a real life company with the aim of improving and developing enterprise and employability skills. We were already working on Silk Virtual in the background, and so luckily we were able to bring this to the fore a lot quicker than we'd hoped. And so for this opportunity, whilst we're in this period, we are proposing that schools can take part in our Silk Virtual programs, and in particular both of our National Enterprise Challenges and our My Perfect University program. And the guys at that don't know this yet, but we're also throwing in our college challenge as well, our national skills challenge. So what is Till Virtual? So again, it's an online platform where schools can register their whole cohort of students. So there's no limit to how many students in the school, so that whether that's 800 or 1,000, that's absolutely fine. You provide us with a student identifier, and then we will create every student an individual login for the platform. You'll see there, this is a teacher user and our XYZ Academy as our test platform. So the first video, I'll just play it very quickly, but then I'll stop. It's literally a video from our lead facilitator, Liam, who talks through the fact that we're in different times and in challenging times, and that these programs can be taken part by the students individually at home, or they can rope in their family members, brother, sister, etc. to take part. 3 demo challenges on here. So each challenge has got around six different challenge videos, and all of them link to the Gatsby benchmarks and have been approved by the Careers and Enterprise Company. We deliver on their behalf around the country. But all of our programs enable the students to get that meaningful employer encounter through the challenges themselves. So the first challenge that we've got here is the Air Products Challenge. That's been set by, obviously, Air Products, and they're a global gas company. And when we click on Start Challenge, that's decided to take us off it. Let's log back in. I don't know if that's because we're sharing. Sorry about this, guys. I'm struggling to type on the sharing. Are you okay just to log back in?
Yeah, if you bear with, I'm not actually sure why it's doing it. You remember the school code?
XYZ, lowercase. Teacher XYZ is the test login, all lowercase.
Teacher XYZ. I don't know why it's doing that. It was working.
Just kicks you out and not letting you back in. Well, I'll just to explain, because I don't want to go through it. So if we can't get back in, I can just explain. So basically, the platform is led by our lead deliverer, Liam, and we've then got videos that are set on site at the particular companies, and these are the challenges that we deliver on school sites that we've adapted for the online learning. Each student can then view the programs, and then they can download any resources needed for that particular program or that particular task. There we go. Hopefully this will work now. Really don't know what happened there. So if it goes off again, it might be to do with the screen sharing. Oh, there we go. So you'll see there that we'll click on the branding task. Again, this is just a demo, but each task has got a top tip from our teacher that works for us, our deputy head teacher that now works for the company, a head of programs. And then we'll take you through the video, and then Liam comes back on a little bit later on, and he will explain the task as though he was in the school, and actually cover the each task of the day. So again, these have been developed so that each task will take around 45 minutes to complete. And as I've said, there's around 6 tasks for each program. 3 in total, and then the additional 6-form program that we're going to upload as well. The other thing to note is when the students have completed the work, they can upload the work via the system, and that is then able to be viewed by the teachers, which I'll come on to in a second. The little bottom tab at the bottom, you'll see We Are Here. The students can click this particular tab during office hours and be able to speak to one of our DBS checked facilitators to ask them any questions about the program, if they're worried about anything in particular, or they would like to ask any particular technical questions. So from a teacher's point of view, so this is the teacher's view, they can then go on to work review and be able to search for students and see from any particular year group and see when the last login was and any work that they've uploaded. So the reason we've done it like this is our programs are project based, and the idea is very much that the students, or sorry, the teachers can set all students in the year group one of the programs is work to complete at home, the cross curricular, the hit the Gatsby benchmarks. So it's a very nice way for them to engage with the teachers by uploading the work, but also it's something that they can complete in its entirety and bring back to the school. Our programs do come with a national finals. Usually they would be in person and the winning team from each school would go. However, on this occasion, they're now going to be virtual. So students will be able to upload their work by the end of June to be judged for our national competition. And we're going to have a finals event on the July the 15th, which again is going to be virtual and involve our guest ambassador, Nick Jenkins, who started Moonpig, and a whole host of other celebrity guests. So the teachers can see that. They can also log back in the back end. And if any students are struggling with passwords, they can obviously request them via ourselves, but the teachers are actually able to do that quite simply. And then they can also run a report off on statuses, see how many students have completed the Air Products Challenge, Grenade Challenge of My Perfect University. And yeah, so as you can see, pretty easy to navigate, not very taxing at all to use. From a safeguarding perspective and data sharing, all we're asking is for a student to identify it. So that doesn't have to be names. It can be literally whatever you use to identify the students. And yeah, I'm given the fact that we've run over a little bit and we are behind schedule, I'm happy to take any questions in the Q&A.
Thank you, Ben. So that is our last provider. So I'm just going to upload the presentation again. And we just have a short conclusion from Stephen. Let me just find the presentation. Where's my mouse? Apologies, I'm not sure why this isn't working. There we go. So after the conclusion, we will have an opportunity for the breakout room, so you can ask any providers any questions you have in there, or similarly, if you want to go and talk to them in there, then that's fine, you can. If I just give Stephen control back. There you go, Stephen. Are you there? Not quite sure where Stephen's gone. Stephen, are you there?
Hi all. So I've just had a message from Stephen and his Zoom has crashed. So he's just asked me to do the last few minutes for him. Good job, I was ready. So I'd just like to say thank you all. The presentation for this morning will be available to watch again through the website. We will also be producing a list of FAQs from the session. So please double check on the website if there's anything that you've missed or you want to double check again. You can contact your Link Collaborative Outreach Officer if there's anything that you would like to take forward. Equally, if you're not already a Make Happen school, please email communications@makehappen.org if you're interested in working with any of the providers that you've seen today. We'd really appreciate it if you could take a minute to answer the poll you see on screen. What that will do for us is allow us to target our activities in the way that you're needing for your school. As always, we are a schools-led model, so we do really appreciate your feedback. There are four short questions and we would just be really grateful. So the first one links to the Make Happen Teacher and Advisor Conference, which we had to unfortunately cancel due to coronavirus. And then we'd like to know whether you'd be interested in attending another webinar, whether it was useful to hear from the providers directly about their offering, and then which of the providers fit the needs of your students at the moment. Once you've completed the poll, please can you join the Zoom breakout room and the links are available in the chat, which Jordan is now posting. And they're also available via email. So when you've done the poll, please could you then make your way to the breakout room. And thank you very much for your participation and attendance today. It's really appreciated. And if you have any further questions, as I've said, please join the relevant breakout sessions. You can move between multiple breakout sessions. So if you want to go to one provider first and then go and follow up with another provider, that's completely fine. You don't just have to stay in one session. Thank you again. And also, as Elise has just changed the slide for me, please visit our website. It is brand new. We've recently launched it, and it's www.makehappen.org. And we're also back up and running on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So follow us if you can. Thank you, everyone. And if you can all go and join your breakout rooms now, that would be great.